Hello. How are you? I have a lot to do now every time I go live. Sorry. All right. Let's see here. I think I got everything. For some reason, it doesn't save my information anymore, so I have to rewrite the entire description of the stream every time I go live. You know that emoji with the face? That's my face. I do not want to rewrite that. So then I have to find a stream with it, copy, paste it, upload the thumbnail, put it into the playlists. And I have to do this all after I've gone live. So how are you guys? Today we're going to be sewing the Fairfield button up by Thread Theory Designs. I have a ton of stuff on my table right here. Menswear! Yay! I've made this a couple times, once on camera, once as a Christmas gift, so it's a surprise. And I have both those shirts here, so I'll show those to you. I was just working on some masks because I finally got some elastic in to, like, you know, sometimes folks just want elastic, right? And this is pretty cool. It is round, super soft, barely feel it on, but it still has enough elasticity to hold the mask on, which is really nice. So I've been experimenting with it since I had already these masks that were almost done. Hi, Malin. And they just needed binding. So I'm kind of retrofitting these right here. So I've already pinned one. So we'll see. I think I'm going to hem it over like that. And we'll poke out the top and bottom. We'll see. Do that later. I was trying to kill some time. So, I forgot to show you guys the menswear. I'm doing more menswear next month. I expect some streams with lots of blushing. Hey, Jan. Because I blush really easily. But I'm going to be doing some men's underwear. I don't know why. This seems far less scary than doing underwear for me. So, I think this will be fun. This is the pattern I got. 2 styles for men by the Pinup Girls. Never heard of that company. Now I know a little bit about them. Here is Michael's. This is the Fairfield I made last year. I literally just pulled these out of the closet. They're not ironed or anything. So I forgot I did a loop for him. And I did this loop because I was worried that the tag would be a little scratchy, you know, on the back of his neck. Hey, Louise. Hey, Derek. Ooh, it's bright and sunny there. Nice. Yeah, right, Jan? Did you get it from May Arts as well? Because that's where I got it from. I know the cameras are really bright right now, but we're going to be doing that dark brown stuff. So I checked the length, and I only needed to shorten it by 2 inches. So this is a nice touch. I put a little button on his pocket. Look at me being all fancy. And then I did the contrast yoke. It's kind of tradition that I've put flowers somewhere in Michael's shirts. Looks like I could fix this flat fell seam right here. Look at that. This is what I'm talking about. Do you guys have these little things in your wardrobe? You made something and then eventually you see something like that. Gotta fix that. And then this is the one I made him for Christmas. It's this really heavy duty yarn dyed flannel that the local fabric store has. It's really, really nice. It's a is that a it's a chevron, not a herringbone, but a chevron. Herringbone? Herringbone. Hey, Sydney. How's it going? And I think I just kept it simple on this one. Oh, this one I had this major sewing fiasco on. So I made it with the flat felled seams, and I got to the point where I just, I did the sleeves separately. And I put the sleeve plackets on. See, I even did real sleeve plackets. I mean, they're all real. But I did, you know, the nice kind. And then I had already sewn the shirt with flat felled seams. And so I got a little confused on what was the right and the wrong side. And I put the sleeves on. I think it was inside out. Yeah. I think that's what it is. I put them on inside out. So then, I don't remember what I did. I did something pretty horrendous though. So I had to take out, what did I do? I think what I did was I did something. So one of these is wrong. I think it's this. Yeah, because see, look. Oh, I think that's what I did. I put the sleeve plackets on the wrong side. See, that's the actual outside. He doesn't know, right? So that would be usually the inside. That's how a flat felled seam would look. And then this is the right side. You can barely tell, right? So that's what it is. I put those sleeve plackets on the wrong side. And so I had to take off the sleeves, unpick the underarm, re-sew it together, and then re-sew the armhole. And I had already like flat filled the whole darn thing. Face palm. You know, nothing like when you're in a little bit of pressure for deadline sewing, right? To have that happen. All right. Oh, it's kind of bright, huh? I'll tone it down. Oh, cool, Jan, you did? And you don't remember we got that? Okay. Working, Sydney. Hi, Esther. How's it going? Nice. You're going to make this one too? Oh, yeah. You know, I make a mistake on every single thing I sew, I'm sure. Even if I don't notice it right away, I'm sure there's something there. So, and if you looked at every ready-to-wear thing you bought, there's a mistake on every single one of those too. We're human, you know? And I just don't think of it as a mistake. I just think of it as like part of the process. It's just there. I mean, I do my best, right? I do my best. And, you know, like I like to say, it's not like I sewn 15 of this shirt. So if I had sewn 15 of this, so I feel like for me, my arch of perfecting it, and I put perfecting in loose quotes, because, and I actually heavy quotes because I don't do perfect stuff at all. My arch of like getting to know how to sew something is I will sew about 3 or 4 and I'm like, I got this. And then I slack for the next like 8, right? Because I've had to do this because I'll price things. I'll like cost them. And so the first like few, I'm like, all right, after I've refined the pattern, like I've already sewn probably a bunch because I've refined the pattern. And then, you know, if I drafted it, and then I you know, do a few, and then it's by about the 8th one that I really could say that I'm doing good. But usually the 3rd or 4th, I do have it. I will just experiment with those other 4. And then after that, I just kind of like, okay, now I can listen to my audiobook. And then I just yeah, and then I have to kind of retrain myself. So it does take about 15 of them, and then I can do it pretty confidently. And then there's this other arch of learning where I will all of a sudden start rethinking what I decided was the best way to go about it, or the fastest or the cheapest. Like there's different avenues, right? You can go with what's the most finished and nicest looking way, what's the most cost effective way, what's the fastest way. And sometimes those 3 can coalesce, but often they just don't. Hey Terry, hey Elizabeth. So yeah, that shirt was a major boo-boo, and I couldn't even like commiserate with you guys because it was a Christmas gift and I didn't want him to know that I was making it. So yeah, anyway, that was a fun one. It took me a while to even figure out what I did wrong. Like I just couldn't I figured out I knew what the problem was, but I couldn't figure out how I had done it. I was like, and that's what bugs me. That's what will keep me up at night. Something will pop into my head because I have to understand why so I don't do it again, or how I got there, you know? So I don't know, like we all like have our ways of learning, and mine is I have to understand why. I'm that annoying employee that even on the first day, if the boss tells me to do something, I'll ask why. And it's not because I'm questioning them and why I shouldn't have to do that. It's more like, okay, I need to know why you need this, so I understand the best way to do it. But sometimes some bosses don't take that why question very well. So, hey Andy. Sorry you missed us yesterday. I saw you at the very end. How's it going? So, in case you missed it, I'm also doing some men's underwear next month. I'm a little nervous about this one. And I blush really easily, so I hope Brooke's not there for that because she's really not going to let it stop if she starts seeing it happen. So, all right, let's get this going. I'm glad Terry's here. She might have to remind me the order of operations for flat fell seams. Okay, this is a front, and this is a front. I trimmed 2 inches off the hem before I started today because I have my husband's shirts here now. If anyone wants to see him, just let me know. I have a short sleeve and a long sleeve. I was just telling the long story of how I flubbed up the long sleeve really big time, and how I fixed it, and it's forever going to be inside out, but you can't tell. Thankfully, because the fabric is impossible to tell the right from the wrong side, and because flat fell seams are so clean. But flat fell seams are what got me into that trouble. So, you know. All right. Maybe I can see the order of operations for flat fell because sometimes I start these off like they're French seams, and I get myself into a pickle. So I just want to remind myself. So I start thinking it. Oh, that's right. I iron it first. Begin by prepping your sleeve piece. Fold the 1/4 inch seam allowance towards the right side of the sleeve. Okay. Pin the sleeve to shirt by the right sides together. Match the raw edge of the body. Towards the right side. And then each time the raw folders are no longer matched, stop and adjust the sleeve. Okay, Okay. And so you sew it with a fold the 1/4 inch seam allowance towards the right side of the sleeve. Keeping the fold seam allowance out of the way, stitch using a 3/8 inch seam allowance. All right. I don't even think I'm gonna need to know this for a bit. Hey Hilly, how's it going? Welcome. All right, so let's put our pocket on. So I think at the end we decided to I think you guys' suggestion of doing the yoke this side out, because this is the right side. You can see this fabric has, it's actually a really nice chocolate brown color, but I have it really overexposed so you can see what I'm doing. I may tone it down a wee bit more. Hey Liz, how's it going? Let's get the lighting a little better here. I feel like, see, I can't see it on a big screen. I see a little, it's on my computer screen, but I know if you're like holding your phone in front of you or your iPad, it's a completely different thing. So this was the side we picked to use, me and my husband. He liked this one, I do too. And it's like green and like not orange, but like a brown and a light blue. I think this is probably the right side because why would they go to the trouble of these little like stars, you know? So I'm not going to do this, the pocket face up. I'm going to do it like this. So I talked about doing that, and as I was saying, I was like, it seems a little like, a little too much. All right, so this has a pretty wide hem. So let's hem it. I put in a new needle. I'm going to try a size 14, even though I'm going to be doing these flat fells. I love it when you're doing a plaid and you can just follow the stitch line, the plaid. Brown does not get enough love. I feel like that brown was kind of my neutral for a while there. Like I was picking it for webbing, for clothes, Stop. Why are you? Okay, so the fabric can be a little bit. Here, I'll show you in just a second. I mean, I'm using the plaid over anything else. So sometimes your plaid, even if you cut them on the lines of plaid, you'll notice that it's crooked, and you can do things like this. Just pull it until it gets correct. That's okay to do. It will stay that way. It's not like other things. Because it's not printed, the pattern's not printed on there, it's woven in there, it will stay like that. So, all right, here we go. I matched my pocket. So it's going to be invisible. Invisible pocket. How are you guys? Hey, Tanya, how's it going? Good morning. So I have a personal Instagram account, and I kind of went off on the youth and the parents in my area today. I never do that. Y'all, my area was doing so good. I'm in California, and my county was actually doing okay. I was a little suspicious of that, knowing the makeup of my county. And now we are doing really terrible as far as our COVID numbers go. Really terrible. And it is largely due to the youth of the area. It's sad, but it's true. It's trackable. You know, I don't get it. I don't understand these parents. And, like, I see them, like, they're, like, all out on these boats on the lake, and they're partying, all these kids. I'm just like, oh, my gosh. Massive outbreaks in my area. So bad we're on the governor's naughty list. My county is on the governor's naughty list. We were so good at the beginning, and now we're like at the bottom. And I just went off on it. I was just like, come on, man. Come on. When, you're young, you're strong. Stop telling us that we've handed you a terrible world if you're not even willing to do something better. Ooh, Sydney, you need to finish that so you can enjoy your order of fabric. Huge document. Okay. Combined 3 orders of fabric. You're just gonna roll around in that, aren't you? I kind of want to iron this first, but I do have these nice little guidelines to cheat. It's not even cheating, right? I have to follow my plaid guidelines. But it felt so good to write that post because those parents have never been a friend to me in this area, Ooh, no, I don't think that would make the pocket floppy at all, Penny. I don't know, Sydney. Yeah. I don't know. I don't understand either. I think honestly the youth in my area are pretty entitled. It's not they're just pretty entitled. I'll leave it there. I've lived here long enough to figure that out, and it really hit me when I first moved here how entitled they were. I was like, wow, this place is kind of out of control. These parents are not in control of their kids. Okay, I'm really trying to keep this on. Boys and girls, just iron this first. It'll be a lot easier. Yep, exactly, Noemi. Yeah, the thing is, kids do think they're invincible, but these kids are still living at home. So this is a parenting thing as well. And I understand, it is really hard to say no to your kid. But I'm talking, 1 month. Just wear your mask for 1 month, There's a lot of people who find it really hard to wear masks, and I understand that. But they're actually probably not part of the problem since they're at risk. So I just don't get it, If you really want things to go back to normal, which nothing is ever going to be normal after this, then just, follow the rules. And my daughter is. She doesn't hang out with anybody. And it's sad. She's pretty sad about that, and that's coming from her. I would definitely enforce it, but I don't have to with her. She's very, very responsible. All right. You could actually sew this pretty crooked, but if you matched the plaid, it wouldn't matter. You wouldn't be able to tell. It was so easy to cut, Michelle. It's it wouldn't even matter if I cut it a little bit off of where the drill holes were. As long as I put it on here matching it in the general vicinity, it'll be fine, you know? All right, so I have a few threads there that I don't want to poke out. Oh, I haven't done that before, have I? I wanted 2 stitches. I ordered 2 stitches. Thank you very much. 2, not 12. I don't ever want my industrial machine to look like it's out of control, because people are like, how do you sew on something so fast? And honestly, you guys know it's not that hard, right? Really, Hilly? Yeah, where's your fabric from? Liz and I want to know. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's just... You know, young kids are probably safer from transmission, but oh man, I feel for parents of young kids that have to worry about this going back to school. All right, can you see my pocket at all? Do I need to lighten it up? Would you guys like me to lighten it up a little bit? You can't even see my hem, even though it's a little wiggly. Where's the pocket? Looks pretty good. Oh, I've never ordered from them. Will you at least do an Instagram story of your fabrics, like a little picture of it? I want to see what you got. Whoa, tell us what you got. What did you order? Did you order based on projects, Sydney? All right. So I gotta remember how to do the placket. I need to get my placket facing out. Magic disappearing pocket. All right, so if anyone didn't see the cutting video and you're making this today, and you don't want to watch that whole video, the one thing I really want to stress is that you cut the fronts correctly, because she labels the patterns so that you cut them on the wrong side of the fabric. So it's important, because if you're a female sewist, you're going to be used to seeing the placket on the right hand side. It would be very easy to cut this incorrectly, because your brain will see that probably like, yep, that's correct, without even thinking it. But men are usually wanting to button their shirts, right or left over right. I can't even say it. Left over right. All right. So you need to make sure that you put your pattern face up on the wrong side of the fabric. So if the wrong side of the fabric is facing up and your pattern is facing up, you're going to be okay. Then you don't have to think about it if you have both those things facing up. So just so you know that, because the first one I ever cut out, I actually did incorrectly. And I had enough fabric to just recut one of the fronts and then trim off the extra placket on the other. I think that's how I did it. So, just so you know. Okay, yeah, I remember this. All right, so my left front is the one that will get this right here. All right, so let's iron this. All right. Let me turn I think I made it so I can see my chat today. Yay, I can. Oh, except I didn't like fix the camera quite yet. At least it's on. I sometimes forget to activate it. Wait, it's this way. This one's always backwards, so I get a little confused. All right. So this is the right front. So this would be the side with the buttons on it. This is the simpler side to sew. Oh, I cut off my notches, but that's okay. We're gonna go by the stripes anyway. Stripes and notches, so it's gonna be like that. Okay, so we're gonna fold it first on this one. Oh, really, Malin? That's so funny. I know, Brooke. I'm sorry. I couldn't respond. I was like, okay, poor Brooke is like, wait, she responded and now she's gone. Yeah, we're going to talk about what you texted me, though. And that little sewing pile you got. It's sewing related. Ooh, see, maybe cutting plaids is a little extra work, but sewing them is so nice. It's so easy to line everything up, no pins. Isn't that funny? You wouldn't think this is like beginning friendly, but kind of is. It kind of helps you, you know? It's like having guidelines. There's one, and then I'm gonna put this facing inside this one. It is hard to pick out fabric online. Bye, Michelle. See ya. Have a good appointment. I think if you're looking for fabrics shops, Liz, it is really nice to see what other people get. And it's hard if you're new, especially new to sewing, because it's hard to know like what fabrics are what, you know. It can be kind of overwhelming. All right, so let's see. Does this one really get double placket? Huh. And then I think we go like this, right? This shirt looks black, and now it's a really dark brown. Chocolate brown. It'll look really nice on my husband. He liked the fabric. I was really glad because I was going to make him a chambray shirt, and I almost did because we have this oh gosh, it's just a long story. A chambray shirt is kind of a joke between us. And it's just because when I came to the outdoor industry is when I met Michael. And I got a lot of teasing for being from the fashion industry, which, you know, isn't cool to tease about. I mean, like, whatever. You know, like, wherever I came from. I actually was the only trained person, too, so I didn't know why they were teasing me. And it was... they would tease me about fashion and stuff like this. I've told you guys a similar story about this, and say that, you know, we cared too much about the way we look. And I was like, well, what are you talking about? You guys have your own little uniform. And it was a chambray shirt, khaki pants, and Chacos or Tevas with white socks. And they didn't believe me. And I was like, okay, whatever. But it was so bad, I never wore that outfit. And it was... the whole chambray shirt khaki thing just became a joke between, because when I said that to my future husband, he got it. He thought it was pretty funny. I wasn't trying to be funny. I was just trying to point it out. All right, so this one you're going to fold twice. And then we're actually going to stitch it, I think, right here. And then it folds back like this and creates this fake pleat. It's not fake, but you know what I mean. It gives it the traditional placket look. Right? And let's iron this pocket. Where'd it go? It's invisible. So if you move this pocket around, you got to be really careful that you have room for the placket. But remember, this, once I stitch this little pleat right here, it's going to fold out like that. See? So it's going to be okay. It looks like I'm really close to the pocket right now. Here's the pocket line, and here's my placket. But I'm actually not going to stitch this down right there. I'm going to iron it a little more. I really want a nice crisp thing. The other thing is, if you're using fabric instead of fusible interfacing, make sure you cut it pretty accurately. And if you have to adjust, make sure that you're not folding this over like this, because you'll get a little ridge in there, you know? You know what I mean, jelly beans? Okay, wait. I want to see the fabric haul. Herringbone denim. Oh, 7-berry pins. What pins for shorts? What do you mean pins? 7-berry fabric's pretty cool. I like it. This right here. This right here is a 7-berry. 7-berry, right? It looks yarn dyed. It's a print. Totally fooled me. Couple of rayon. Brushless washer linen. I love that stuff. I think Brooke turned me on to that. And the rayon night and swimsuit. Ooh. Very cool. You can be busy. Yeah, he will, Noemi. I have a picture of him from last year. He's a total champ. Yeah, doesn't LA Finch have like dead stock and fashion fabrics, which is really nice. Deal of the day, brusher, $8 a yard. Yeah, and that's actually wide too. The Brussels washer linen is such a great deal. It washes beautifully. It's so drapey. You don't have the pitfalls of linen and the pitfalls of rayon. It kind of evens it out. It's really nice. Oh, the L6 yarn dyed is going to be completely different than the washer linen. But they're both great. I love them both. I would use the Essex for a shirt like this and the Brussels for a dress. You know? Pins is the design on it. Oh, right, Allison. I have that permanently up on my screen. It's funny because a meter is so close to a yard, but then when you start getting up there, up in the amounts, then you got to be careful. All right, let me get. I had done a double back tack right here, so let's get rid of that extra stitching. Okay, and we'll get rid of my. This is what I cut off the shirt length. So now I do like it when it's clean. I won't be picky. All right, so this is the left front. Okay. Yeah, because they're in LA, I would think so. So that's great, because then you can get some really unique stuff and stuff that is actually, for sure was intended for clothing. Yeah, it has a lot of drape, and it comes in so many colors. I'm pretty sure, wait, what is, and then Hearts has the linen noil. Wait, am I saying that? Is that the one that linen noil? Tencel noil? Oh, I'm totally flubbing that up. I've used it before. Viscous linen noil comes in a ton of colors, and it's so drapey. I've made a few things for them out of it, and I've made what's the Wixton Howery? Wait, that's what that's called, right? Oh my gosh. Wixton Howery. I've made the dress number 2 for Hearts last year, and I made one other thing. I made the Brussels washer linen in the Upton dress. I never wear that. I should wear that. It's red. All right, so this is the left front, and this is the side with the, the double side with the extra pleat. So there's an extra notch right there. You're going to sew straight down and be nice and even. See, now we have this nice little pleat. What's that? Do you want me to brighten it up, you guys? So I'm gonna put another stitch, like I kind of want to put one the same width away, so then it looks like that style pleat. Usually I would go down from the top, since that's what I just did, but I just started this way, so I'll do it. Because that way I don't pull the fabric. So one thing, like, because I started from here and went down, it's good, especially on this like front focal feature, to do the same. Start from this side and go down. It's contrary to how you feel though, because it puts the garment underneath the head of the machine. So if you do start from the bottom by accident, just make sure you don't get any torquing, because that can happen. I'm gonna actually hold this nice and flat. See, now I have my nice looking Placket. That's cool. Viscous linen, no, I do not hand wash that. Sydney, the only thing I hand wash is my hand knit sweaters. That's it. Yeah, that's the only thing I hand wash. And my hand knit, all my hand knits. Except for the washable ones. Alright, I'm gonna sew the other side of the Placket. Same thing, you don't want to get any torque. I do want to make sure I'm folded nice here. So I'm kind of looking at these lines here, but this is the inside of the garment, so it's not as critical that these line up, but it will kind of help because the weave of the fabric is going to correct any torquing if you keep it perfectly lined up. But I'm also looking at this edge here, and look, I kind of got a little bit off here, so let's pull it back a little bit and just fold it right there. Just like this. All right. Oh, look at that little bit of orange. I'm not gonna worry about that since it's on the inside. Now I know I got this pretty straight. So there we go. So that's our right front. And then when these overlap, let's just hope, hope, hope. Yeah, look at that. Lines up perfectly. Invisible. Yeah, I machine wash both too, Brooke. Yeah, I wash everything, even the rayons. I don't care. I throw it all in the washing machine. Ooh, Malin, is that the one that yeah, the one you only get to go to once a year? You got 18 pieces of fabric? I want to see your fabric haul too now. All right, let's do the yoke. I'm going to get rid of my pin cushion today. Yoke, back, and where do I put the label in? At the collar, yeah, okay. So what kinds of things did you focus on, Malin? I love that you know how many pieces of fabric you got. Does this get, okay, this is the right side. Does the pleat, is it inverted on a men's shirt? Or, it's not inverted, is it? Yeah, right, Sydney? For me, however I plan on washing it in the future is what I do. So, for like when I was in my like mid-20s, there was a ton of silk noil around, and I loved it. And it had a distinct smell to it. The shades it came in, it's like the precursor to the viscous linen noil. And it was silk noil. I would make pants out of it. It was a little too lightweight for the pants I would make out of it, but now I could totally rock that fabric in a few pants patterns I had. And it said hand wash or dry clean only, and I never did that. It changes the texture of it, so you got to be prepared. And you can just cut a little swatch off and see, and then compare it to your unwashed fabric to see what you like. But for me, I needed easy wear, and I was a full-time bike commuter at the time and living in an extremely rainy climate, so there was hand washing, and especially air drying there was a particular challenge, especially as a knitter. It would take sometimes a week for my hand knits to dry. Usually 5 days it would take to dry, and that was sometimes putting it near the heater vent. Here it takes a few hours. That's the difference. You count them when you add them to Trello. That's right. Yeah, right, Elizabeth? Exactly. I just throw it in the washer too. Yeah, when my husband has been like tempting me with that place to buy, which I'm not in any position to buy, but he says I am. There is a washer and dryer there. He's like, there's a washer and dryer there. I'm like, oh, washer and dryer in my studio? Dream. That's a dream. Okay, so is it inverted or Oh, it is inverted. Right? It doesn't matter, I guess. So if you want to do the burrito yoke style, she has it in the instructions. So, yeah, that's true, Noemi. I use those for even my bras and underwear. My bras, not my underwear. I don't care about those. Oh, man. Well, it's a good thing they don't have a web shop and you only have to visit once a year. Then that seems like a good reason then to just get what you need, you know? Does it go like this? Wait, let's line this up to the. I have a lot of notches here, and I'm kind of, maybe that's a fold line for oh yeah, that's what it is. Okay. So I'm gonna line it up. Where's my center? I want a center notch. That's really all I want is a center notch. Get that going there. I like to kind of fold a little bit down so that it's nice and straight up here, because I tend to get a little lazy there, you know, up here. And so what happens is my pleat will permanently be a little bit angled like that, and it already does that anyway. So I try and like do a little bit of it, like keep it pleated while I sew this top and get it completely lined up, because I do get a little lazy there. I know I do. Yep, I do, Louise. I do pre-wash. I don't have to, but I do, because they don't mind that I do, and I don't mind doing it. And I feel like if they're ever planning on wearing it or selling it, it would be nice to be able to say that. Plus, I also think like it's great that they can say, hey, this fabric's been washed, this is what it looks like. But I don't have to. Except the neck. Oh, it could have been a ½ inch smaller. If you need to make the neck smaller, Terry, I would, when it's on him, so it needs to come up, I would see where it needs to come up on him. If it looks pretty big all the way around, then I would just go up, you know, like 1/8 of an inch, and then measure that, and then another 1/8 of an inch. But if it needs to go all up in the front, just bring it up there, and then you can just get the neckline, like the seam where the collar stand is attached to the shirt. Get the neckline where you need it to be, and then adjust everything else. Yeah. Oh, that's cool, Allison. You're easily a rabbit in the headlights. Yeah, right, Malin? I get that way too. All right, so I have my, this is my method. I don't even know, it might be like the burrito, I don't know, but I do it differently. So I do these two here, and I'm going to do the fabric contrast to the shirt, so I don't have to worry about any plaid matching. And I think this is a 3/8 inch seam here. And I'm just going to match it all up here. You could use pins if you like. I will try and make sure I sew in a nice straight line. Why does it seem a little big? I think I pleated it a little. Why is my one yoke is a little big? Weird. See that? I'm gonna pin this because I really want that to stay straight when it's at that, when the pleat's there. Yeah, I think starting with something you're comfortable with, or starting with something you know you want to sew, or if you have a weakness for something and you don't want to get any more of that, don't start there. Because I do that. Like, And I'll also tend to get too much of one thing. Why is this so small? I thought I just held this up to the yoke to make sure, you know? I looked at some of the confessions and the sewing confessions and the love to sew thing, and I was like, these aren't things you're doing wrong. Those aren't confessions. I do all those things. Did anyone look at those and you were like, I don't know what you're talking about? Here we go. It's a little crooked right here. All right, so I'm gonna wait to iron it until I have the shoulders, because I can just iron it. So this is how I do my yoke sewing. So just put your shirt right sides together to that shoulder of the, like, one of the yokes, the outer or the inner. All right. And then you see how this is the inner yoke, this is the outer yoke, here's the shirt. I literally just do this. Just turn it and match it up like that. So I put the yokes right sides together. And I just hold it right there. It's awkward, it's funky. I did this in my 20s and I've been doing it ever since, and it works. And I just sew a little bit and keep it all lined up for a little bit till I get to the next part. See, so now it's this big old mess right here. I line up the neck, hold it at the seam line, make sure all these edges stay together. Don't pull on it because the shoulder is obviously cut at an angle a little bit, and so it can be stretchy. And then that's it. And then it's done. So there we go. Clean, right? Just make sure, because it's easy to do, that you don't accidentally sew your shirt to the wrong side or something like that. Just keep it straight. And so you can start at the neck too. Just put one right sides together, right? This is the outer yoke on the outer shirt, right? And then I just take it and line it up. I just keep it really straight in my head, whoop, like that. And then I do it. I start from the neck or the armhole, doesn't matter. So it's more like a tamale instead of a burrito. It's tiny. I think either one works great. I've never done the other one, but I'm sure it works great. Right, Jan? I don't know. I still do it. You guys see me do it. I've never had a problem with sewing over pins. That's how we were taught. There were a lot of things in there. I felt like going, wait, these are not... You guys are fine. These are not confessions. You can keep doing that. All right. I just let go. Now it's kind of coming undone here. Let's line it back up. You can use pins there, totally. Like, just if you can't pin the whole thing, just pin a little bit and then keep going. Yeah, right? I don't know when sewing over pins became a sin. Do you think I should take that yoke out? I think it'll be fine once I top stitch it down, because I kind of made it fit there. I thought I did an inverted pleat though. Oh, I did. So that's pretty cool. Contrast yoke. Right, Allison? Yeah. Just make sure you pin perpendicular to your project. Do not pin parallel. That was what I always used to do. And you can get your pin stuck in there or not see one. That's dangerous. The thing is, like a pin, the needle glances off the side if it hits it. I think I've hit maybe one and bent one in my entire 30 years, over 30 years. I'm not exaggerating. You're going to hit a pin someday, no matter what. So that's the safest way to do it. Just don't hit a pin. And you can, the thing is, when you pin perpendicular, you can also pull the pin out as you approach it. It's a lot easier because you can actually have the pin in there. I don't even have a pin here, do I? You can have the pin in there. Maybe I should show on my machine. Here's a nice big pin. So if you have the pin in here, right, and you're about to sew it, you can actually have your presser foot holding the pin down before the needle gets there. Pull the pin out and you're fine. That's the other thing about it. It's totally fine if you are nervous about it. There were a few things on there. I'm trying to think of what some of the others. Like, I understand people like, oh, I don't sew a muslin. Yeah, you don't always have to sew a muslin. Oh, the other thing I saw was I never trace my patterns off. I never have either. And, oh, the other one was, oh, I cut into my patterns. And I'm like, yeah, what's wrong with that? I do that too. Apparently, I've been sewing wrong and I didn't know it all these years. I am just one big sewing confession. I am the channel people point to and say, don't do this. Don't do anything this woman does. Everything she is doing is wrong. This pleat is mediocre. I want to iron this now that it's sewn. It looks so good. Oh, cool, Liz. Nice. Oh, Allison, because I've worked in factories. Factories don't allow pins. It's okay to use pins. I don't use them a lot, but I have nothing against pins at all. In fact, I've been trying to use more clips in some cases, but I'm more of a pinner. And you know, the thing is, like, I have kind of a funny story about these pins. It's not funny at all. Right, I am a rebel. I am not, well, I don't know, whatever. I'm no YOLO, right? I'm not apologizing for anything. Right, Elizabeth, exactly. So there's a window seat in our new house, and it has a little cushion in it. And they, every time I would sit on it, I'm like, God, this fabric is scratchy. Or maybe what it's stuffed with has sawdust in it. Like, it was prickly every time I got on it. And, you know, I'm wearing shorts so I could feel it. Or a dress or whatever. So my bare legs and even through, right? And so I was been giving Senor medicine, and I was kneeling on it the other day. I'm not going to show you, but I poked the front of my ankle bone, like right here. And it hurt so bad. And I was like, what the heck? And we had since figured out that they had pinned the cover on there, right? They pinned it. They didn't sew it on there. It was probably just made it look nice for selling the house. And we've been there a month. I haven't gotten around to like changing the funky fabric on it. And so when I finished giving Senor his medicine, I walked away. I was in a puddle of, like, literally a puddle of blood. I was like, what the heck? It was just a pin. Well, I had poked my vein. So it was pretty dramatic because it was like 11:30 at night. Everyone was sleeping. I was just like, what is happening here? So I since took the pillow. Like, the next day I was like, gosh darn this damn pillow. I brought it here, and there were about 50 of these pins. These are the pins, because I wouldn't buy plastic head pins. I like the glass ones because you can iron on them. And they weren't, the cover wasn't pinned like this. The cover was pinned like this, straight into the foam. And that's why. And now I'm back to having all these, every time I look at these. But you should see, there's my ankle's fine, totally fine. But because I poked the vein, I have a black bruise like this on the front of my ankle. Isn't that crazy? Just because I poked it. Oh, Allison, there's a lot of reasons they don't allow pins in most factories. And yeah, I know. And you know, Senor had yelped Louise once. He didn't yelp, but he was like kind of squirming one day, and I think he was getting poked by a pin, and I didn't know it. That poor cat. He's doing really great, by the way. So Allison, in factories, often they don't allow pins on the production floor because it slows them down when they sew. And they are a safety reason, and they are a machine safety reason, because you can hurt your machine if you don't, you know, yeah. So mostly, though, on some of the like old school factories I've worked at, it is because you will not, in their opinion, you will not make your piece rate if you're using pins. It takes too long. In the last factory I worked at, they didn't allow pins because we did waterproof, breathable fabrics, and you cannot pin those together under any circumstance, even in the seam allowance. So that's why, because you can't poke a hole in it. So yeah, I don't know. I wish the owner came back to get some of his plants and a few things he had left, and I really wished I would have been like, dude, that wasn't cool. You know? Take the pillow with you if you're not going to recover it. So do you guys remember when I accidentally bought fabric? I bought that fabric that looks like a koi pond with the koi fish, the big orange fish and lily pads, and I was going to make pants out of it, and then it turns out it was like outdoor home deck fabric, so it was like that funky weird, it feels kind of slimy, and it's really thick and heavy. It's very weird fabric, and I was like, oh, I can't make pants in this. I covered it in that, and it looks really cute. So that was my that's my success story. So I'm just gonna top stitch the yoke now. Easy peasy. Yeah, sorry, the pin comment on factories, it sounds so dramatic, like it's so attention seeking, but it's just like, a lot of factories have policies like that. It's just they feel their workers are not as productive using pins, basically. All right, I'm gonna pin this together, or hold this together while I go over, just to reinforce it. I didn't do the greatest job here, I feel like. All right, that's looking pretty good. Right. Okay. So this is how it'll look. It's nice, it's soft, but it has a nice body. So great. All right, so let's do our collar. Oh, here we go. Wait. What do I have here? Okay. Now I'm gonna see the seam allowance on this. What the collar was. Because I think it's 1/4 inch. Didn't I say that? 1/4. I love a collar with 1/4 inch seams. Really, I just want to make sure because I'm so happy. I'm so happy that it's a 1/4 inch seam. All right, so this is the under collar. And let's see, is this go? Oh yeah, that's right. This is even smaller. This is my collar stand. And here is the top collar. All right. So she has you make your interfacing much smaller. This is probably really ideal for if you're using fusible. It just kind of reduces the bulk and the seam allowance, and I honestly can't remember the other reasons. I could do the under collar in the contrast as well. And then I'd be able to tell what the undercollar is, you know? So if you haven't sewn a collar that has a top and an undercollar, the undercollar is just slightly smaller usually so that it pulls the seam of the perimeter of the collar to the underside rather than it creeping up onto the top. Just kind of a bummer, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna sew around the perimeter, the 1/4 inch seam. And it's gonna be smaller, so you do kind of have to make it fit because it is smaller. Usually when I draft these, what I do is, and if you want, you can see it's curling up because I'm making it fit. I could honestly put the interfacing on the other side, it might fit a little better, but I like the interfacing to be on the top collar. I feel like that's the side that looks really nice, and the interfacing really helps that. All right, so you can see like right here how it's shallower. You see that? So there's this fat 1/8 of an inch right here. If you can see that. My awl is underneath. So I'm just going to keep this edge lined up. And it's really when you're sewing the ends that you notice the collar being smaller. And when I draft these, what I do is I shave off about an 1/8 of an inch on the undercollar to about 0 here. So I'm kind of scooping it away, and it's about an 1/8 of an inch smaller at the center there to nothing at the point. And then I do a tiny bit right here. I just kind of make a little arch like that. But I do go to nothing at these collar points so that when you're sewing it together, it's not impossible, because you do still have to sew it together. And so then I'm going to kind of take a look before I trim anything. Just see. Because that's what I'm worried about. You see that little orange line? That's going to really make my collar look crooked if I'm not careful. So let's sew this on this side. Well, it's not as bad as it seems. Oh, this is it. I can't really see it though. So let's see here. See right here? To nothing and something. So I'm gonna let a little bit more show right here. That way it won't look crooked. So it's from here to about right here. All right. I could actually, maybe what I'll do is do this. I think I can actually just pull it a little bit down. And then we can, right, is it right here, right here, right here? Okay. There's nothing like something making you look like you're a wiggly sewer, right? So we're gonna make it not look that way, you know? We're gonna like make it look straight, even if it's not. But it is, promise. Wink, wink. Hard to see stitches on brown. That's why I should just get good, right? Not make any mistakes. I don't use the light on this machine because it would look really bad on camera. And my lighting's actually not too bad for me. But sometimes when I'm sitting here sewing something like a personal project, I will turn off the overhead lights and use my light on my machine so that if I'm watching something, the glare of my lights doesn't show on the screen. And the little light that comes with, it's built on my machine, is pretty darn good. Why why didn't I remove it from this side? A lot easier. There we go. So maybe it would have been a little easier if I had put this interfacing on the other side so I could sew this from this side and see those lines, since this is the right side of the collar. So I'm going to pull this down a little bit. I want to go a little further. I got to get rid of that. There we go. This fabric isn't very thready, which is kind of nice. I'm surprised. It probably looks like it, but it's not bad. Right here, right here. All right. Fingers crossed. All right, that's way better. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna trim my corners here. I don't know that folding technique off the top of my head, but I'm not gonna trim too close quite yet, just in case I want to adjust anything. Hey Barbara, how's it going? Ooh, really, Jan? 40 bucks, very heavy and great steam. Those are the 3 keys, right? That's really cool. All right. So because this under collar here is a little smaller, right? It's not much smaller. You'll want to line up your raw edges when you go to iron it and when you go to sew it. And so now you can see that that little seam is right here. And it pulls. I didn't even have to worry about getting that straight, but it is a good idea too, just in case. And then that way the seam is pulled to the underside. I mean, gosh, for years I lived off of like $20 irons that I got from the drugstore, you know? Okay. For the collar stand, do I want the contrast on the inside? Let's see. So here's my collar, right? And then I'll do the right side of the fabric for the collar stand. But on the inside, do I want contrast like this? What do you guys think? It's not so contrasty, you know? Oh, that's cool, Jan. Black & Decker Digital Advantage. 40 bucks, heavy and great steam. That's all we care about with garment sewing. I like a good point too, you know, on the iron. Heavy, point, and steam. Those are my 3 things I really like. I used to hate the auto shut off feature, but contrast on the inside. All right, cool. But I feel like it's gotten better now at, I mean, it still shuts off, but it doesn't take too, like, it gives you enough time to iron. But the other thing is it heats right back up really quickly. Steam iron and V, yeah, I bet. All right, so I'm gonna iron this, and then speaking of irons, and then we can put our collar stand on and put it on the shirt. Yeah, like mine turned off just now. I always tilt it right before I start streaming so that it doesn't take long to heat up. So line up your edge here. Don't worry about this quite yet, but well, actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna iron this. Actually, it wants to go that way, so we'll just push it that way. That's fine. Let me get rid of some of those threads in there. I don't want lumps. I don't want to feel lumps in there, you know? These are my little start-stop threads. Never ending. I feel like I could do that for hours. All right. So I try and iron this like this. Pull that under collar. Hey, have you guys seen that oh, is it Bra Builders, or they're doing like the bra bee? Wait, I'm not. Wait, what is it called? The bra sewing bee? Wait, what is it called? I have to say, like, the whole idea of sewing a bra is. Oops, what am I looking for? I'm looking for my all. I feel like I could, if I started that, I would do it for months. And that's kind of why I don't want to do it. I don't know if I want to go down that rabbit hole, but it's so tempting. I love the things people are making. It just looks so technical and fun. And then I realized that bra bee thing is something you sign up for and pay for. So now I'm like, oh, I wish I would have done it. You know? All right, so now this is the under collar, so you can see my top colors. This line right here of orange is the top color. So now our seam is on the underside. Ooh, I wish more of this was showing. It's gonna bug me. That gonna bug me? I think that might bug me. Okay, look, this one's longer. All right, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna sew that. Look how much bigger that looks. Bra sewing, the great bra sewing bee. Yeah, bra, and there's Bragist. Right, Esther? That, it's better than your Rowenta. Those might be fighting words, Jan. But that's awesome that it is. Yeah, Bragist. Oh. Now I'm having like FOMO a little bit. So maybe we should look it up at the end of the stream. All right, so wait, how much do I need to trim off here? I need this to be right here. Yeah, it does sound like an annual thing. Oh shoot. All right, well, we're gonna have to eyeball it a little bit. We'll start with a little bit. All right. Whoops. That's a little better. Once I trim it, I think I can get that point. You know? Okay. Hey, Patty, how's it going? It is, Jan? Wow, that is cool. I'm really glad you found that. So just so you all heard, she found a... Oh, that's the roll-up door. Dude, I play too many games with zombies in it. Sometimes I think. You know? Alright, I'm trimming this right here. Not that zombies can open roll-up doors, right? You never know. Be really careful. Some of these fabrics that are woven like this can be a little bit open weave, and I have a tendency to then I'll pull a thread of the fabric, you know. All right, I think that looks a lot better. This is probably the best it'll ever look once it's been washed in the rotation, you know. Okay, so this is my outer collar, and I want my outer collar. Sometimes I got to make sure. So this is my outer collar, right? Like this. Okay, here's my outer collar. All right, there's my outer collar, and I want my collar stand to be like this. And I want my inner stand to be contrast, so this is how I sew it. See how confusing that was? So in other words, it's this print to this print. That's my under collar to my outer stand. All right, and then I'm going to put the inner facing on the outer collar stand. This has quite a curve in it. Okay. I think she gives you a center notch. Which now I can't find. I think it's right here. All right. So I sometimes go from the center out. I just want to make sure I've got this in the right spot. So you have a little notch on your collar stand right here to match the end of your collar. Nancy, how's it going? Ooh, really? Pattern cutting deconstruct. I have not. Is that a pattern drafting Instagram? Cool. Because I know pattern cutting is what it's called in like Great Britain, right? Is what pattern drafting is called. It's called pattern making and pattern drafting here. That's so cool. Giant thunderstorm sounds nice. So every time I'm driving home, I point toward the Sierra Nevadas because our place is up against them. And there are these huge vertical cloud columns for like the thunderstorms going over the Sierras. It's pretty cool. Hey, Eliza. You driving and listening? Nice. Hope you're well. Oh, cool, Louise. Pattern construction deconstructed. Pattern cutting deconstructed. I'm trying to remember it without looking. I keep getting phone calls. All right. So I'm going to sew this 1/4 inch seam. I'm still going to do a stay stitch around my neckline too, but I'm not doing it until I'm about to attach it. Line up all these edges here. The stand, her stand has a little swoop in it. Get all these threads towards your seam line or your cut edge. Nice, Nancy. Yes, rainless thunderstorms start a lot of California forest fires. Yes. Oh, that's cool, Louise. Do you think you'll take a pattern drafting workshop? Sewing over my pins like the bad girl I am. All right. Yeah, you know, because I'm not fusing my interfacing, it did get a little bit off. That's okay. It's all in the seam. We're good. Oh, I didn't top stitch my collar. Bugger. I'm actually going to take this apart. I completely forgot to top stitch my collar. I'm a little distracted with the chat today. I don't know why. It's not your fault. And I like to do it before it's in this seam here. So, sorry about that. Nancy's here, so I have to use my seam ripper. You're not ready for that? Okay. All right, so as long as I have it free right there and free right here. Ooh, maybe it's an angry parent from my Instagram post. Bring it on. I'm like, yeah, bring it on. All right. I'm gonna top stitch my collar. So this can feel a little weird, I think, because remember this seam is under the collar, right? So when you go to top stitch the outer collar is going to look great with your top stitching, but the under collar is going to look a little weird with your top stitching. Distractions. Aww. Did your dogs not like thunder? I think it's exclamation point drink. If you're looking for your command. Yeah, Louise knows it. Let's see if it works. There we go. Now I can sew that back up. I didn't want to do that while it was already in the seam because then it would mean I would have to backstitch right there, which is, it just doesn't look good when you do that, you know? And I have done that before because I couldn't take it apart. Because I could take this apart, I'm taking advantage of that, you know? For anyone new, a long time ago, someone said, maybe we should start a drinking game every time Sarah uses her seam ripper. I was having a bad sewing day, and they chose to turn it into a drinking game at my expense. So I gave them a command. Pretty sure it was Nancy that came up with the drinking game idea. So there's other commands you can put, you know, anytime you see me do something. If you're new and you don't know why my machine does this noise all the time, because you sometimes don't see that it's my presser foot going up and down, I have a command for that, command noise, or exclamation point noise, especially for new folks who are like, what's that sound? It's really hard to see it, I think. Nice, Nancy. Poor dogs, man. Loki right now, he doesn't get scared about stuff like that, but because we're in a new place, he is a little trying to get used to all the new sounds. And like, say I'm watching a stream or a TV show, or someone calls me and I have him on speakerphone. If he hears someone talking, all of a sudden he's like, woo woo woo, woo woo woo, woo woo woo. Too early for mine here. And so Michael, you know, he's working at home all the time right now, and so he'll go on a Zoom call, and all of a sudden Loki will be like totally asleep, and he'll be like 5 minutes into the Zoom call, not right when it starts. He'll be like, wait, woo woo woo, you know. There you go. Yeah. So we've been having so many crazy pet things with this new place. I've always had such like hardy animals to live in the country, but apparently living in the like suburbs for a few years has made our animals a little soft and not so countrified. Except Haku. Like Haku's our original pet from living out in the country. And he is blossoming, like he is into it. He can't get him indoors. And there's so many critters that could eat him out there. I'm like, no, you're coming in, you know? All right, so let's iron this. So now here's our collar stand, right? Oops, keep doing this incorrectly. There we go. Wait, did I do that wrong? Wait a minute. Oh, no, this is it. Jeez. The prints are confusing me. So like this, that's my little collar. and then has the contrast. I'm pretty sure it's just actually the right side of the fabric. That's why it keeps throwing me off, you know? Yeah, well, there's 4. There's one, our house is a square, and there's a back door, a front door, and side doors. So a sound can come from anywhere, and he's a little like, what is that, you know? So, and the creepy thing is, we also have this huge deck off our bedroom door, and at night we leave the door open because this breeze comes down from the mountains and through our little valley along the creek, and it really cools everything off, so it's really nice to have. But they will all of a sudden be like, you know, and start like doing that at the door, which is kind of creepy. I'm like, the door's open to like pitch black out there to the deck. And I'm like, can you stop freaking me out? And we get coyotes there every night. Every morning we hear them, and we have a bobcat too. So I'm always like, you know, I'm gonna iron this. Ironing. What is that? Oh, okay. I'm like, what is that? You can see the little swoop. Whoop. So this is my undercollar, and the stitching did pretty nice. It actually looks pretty nice for an undercollar stitching because there's the seam, and there's the understitching right there, and that's my top collar. Let's iron the heck out of this thing. I could probably use more steam in my iron. I think I have water in here. Oh, I don't have water in here. Shoot. I just keep it in that broken pitcher right there. It's nice and convenient then, you know? Oh, there's a little bit in there. Get this curve nice. Something I kind of get a little sloppy about is getting this curve nice. And I feel like getting this curve symmetrical to the other side is kind of tricky. You know what I mean? Because when you're sewing this curve right here, you're coming at one side, you know, like this. You're starting at the base and going around the curve. Then when you come to this one, you're starting at the top and going down. And so you'll get 2 different curves occasionally, you know? They can be a little different. Mine are a little different. Look at that. See that? So if I line up my collars, they're definitely a little different. See that? All right, make sure. Oh, I have a little water in there. There we go. Sometimes if I can get my steam going if I use it, if I like push the button. All right, so let's put our collar on. Yeah, right. Yeah, why is that? Why do quilters like dry irons? Yeah, so Barbara, why is that? Is it do something to the pieces? Okay, let's stay stitch this. I'm notoriously bad about remembering to do that. So I'm just going to put a little line 1/4 inch away from the edge. Try not to stretch any of it as I go. I probably should have done it a little less than 1/4. It'll be easier to make sure I miss it. All right. I'm not, oh, okay, really? And is that because most quilters don't pre-wash the fabric? Because I could see that. Because I do pre-wash. Yeah, see, Sydney, right? That's what I'm thinking too. With clothing, Louise? Why? Linen is so easy to shape and misshape, so I could see maybe that's why. All right, so this is the right side of my garment. I'm not going to clip the neckline. I know the instructions say to clip the neckline after doing this, but I'm going to do it after my collar is sewn to it. I find it to be a lot easier to handle. All right, and so this is the right side of my collar. So this right here is the inside of my shirt, and I'm going to sew the collar from the inside to the outside, like this. So this is my right side of my collar. So the inside to the outside. That's the way I like to do it. I always do it this way for cuffs, for collars, for everything. And I'm not going to line up down here quite yet. I'm just going to put a pin there to hold it. I'm going to focus on the center. There better be a notch there. Where's my notch? Where'd my notch be? Okay, if there isn't one, just fold it in half and give yourself a notch. You need a center. I'll just do a little nip. I think there was one on one of those yokes, but not the other. Here we go. And then same with this here. Oh, I need to do the label. Yeah, I'm thinking that might be why Louise too. It's because it can kind of be distorted, the linen. Right, Nancy? That's what I was thinking too. Use it to fix the blocks. Yeah, right, Melanie. Yeah, some colors for sure. Most of the linen things I have aren't a color that will get shiny, but like the things I do have do that too. I think that's just too high of heat, but I'm not willing to back down. Breaking the rules. These needles or pins are kind of long for pinning this. These silk pins are a little shorter, but they're a little wimpy. I like the quilt pins the best. All right, so if this part is tricky for you, I suggest going from the center to the end. Hello, Crafty Nomad. Welcome. I suggest going from the center to the collar and then flipping it and doing the same thing. I find it to be a little more like guaranteed success, you know? Oh, my label, thank you. I mean, you know, I'm the only one that gets to stare at the back of my husband's neck. With my little goofy face there. Sydney, right? Hey, at least it's on the back. Then you know that's the back, right? So, okay, Melon, that's me too. I totally agree. I mean, but do you think that's why it gets shiny? Or do you think that's the fiber? I kind of want to tack the label in here so that it doesn't, because this label, because I have so many colors, this stuff's really thick. So soft though. It's really thick. Look at that. I'm going to stitch it down because lately my labels, one side will get tacked and the other side won't, and it'll get a little crooked when I go to fix it, you know? You never ever put linen in the dryer. You don't? So one of my quilting friends, she washes her fabric and then she dry irons it dry. You know what I mean? Like she dries her fabric with her iron. She also has more time than me. But still, I would do it if that's what I need to do. So I'm just going to start from the center and go towards the neckline. So like I said, this is the inside of my shirt. So this is the inside. I always sew my collar from the inside and go to the outside. It's just the way I like to do it. It turns out it's a lot easier to control how your collar is going to turn out on the right side of the garment, what everybody sees, you know? I do this for the cuffs. Any kind of thing where you're enclosing the seam and you're a little worried that you have to like nail it perfectly to, you know, to the outside, you know, like that stitch, the last row stitching has to line up with inside. I don't know. This is just a lot easier. All right, so then when I get to this part right here, what I like to do is I open up the collar stand. So this is the collar stand, right? This is my collar stand. I open it up. There's the seam right there, and I lay my placket right up against that seam. Didn't give myself enough room to sit here and fiddle with this. I'm gonna pin it. And now I like to put my fingers under the collar right here and pull and push this neckline to line it up with the collar. Take out the pin. Use my awl a little bit. I know, right? I think it would. You think it's the linen fiber? Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. Yeah, Melinda, I think that is the responsible way to take care of your clothes. And Americans notoriously put everything in the dryer. Not all of us, but most of us. And I've heard of people, like especially Europeans, coming here and they'll live here for a bit and they are like, what the heck, like this is ruining my clothes, you know, it's shortening the lifespan of your garments and stuff. And especially if you're doing handmaids, so smart to hang dry them. And I've actually been thinking about setting up like because I used to do that. And it doesn't take that long, and your clothes do last longer, and your whites stay whiter. I feel kind of like, I don't know. I'm a little impatient, if you haven't noticed with my sewing. All right, so I'm going to start down here, and like again, I open up my collar stand. I sew over a pin because apparently that's bad to do, and that's all I do is bad things. I always arrange my neck like that. I just kind of move it around so that it stays lined up. I don't want it to be in there at an angle. And this has all been sewn, which is nice. There's no pins or anything, and I can just kind of meet that center back. All right, so there's my collar on there. Let's see how it did. This is the inside of my garment. All right, well, I got the basting stitch in there except for right here. So I could just take out the basting stitch or the stay stitch right here because the seam allowance looks pretty darn good. I don't really want to make it bigger. That can distort your collar. So I'm just going to remove my stay stitch right here. Like that. Right, exactly, Esther. Me either. Wait. Oh, hi, Summer. I didn't even see you there. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, what a bummer. I'm sorry. I'm glad you joined us again. Thanks for coming. Yeah, towels would take a long time. I actually do a lot of my things on low. Hey, Terry. Welcome back. All right, so let's, I'm going to clip this and then I'm going to iron it. So the other funny thing about when you clip your neckline is that we do this for the seam allowance here, but I don't do it on this edge of the collar stand before I sew it down. So it is kind of a funny contradiction, right? The only thing that I think makes the reason why it doesn't hurt it by doing that, like not clipping it before you sew it on, I think the reason it works is because the collar stand is just that, it stands above the garment, so the seam allowance can go straight up. Yeah, Louise. Yeah, I know. I've used them there. I've used the ones that I used this one in Scotland that washed and dried in the same tumbler. It was terrible. We just decided not to wash our clothes again. I mean, it took like 8 hours. Yay, Eliza! I know, isn't this fabric great? I got this from Stone Mountain and Daughter. My mom and dad gave me a gift certificate, and someone from the stream gave me, I don't know who, gave me a gift certificate. So I bought all kinds of stuff. I had a lot of fun. I got some stuff for the giveaways in August for you guys, and I got my napkins. I got some projects. I got a little bit of everything. These are so good at snipping, except when you get to a thickness, I gotta kind of use the base, and they're so dang sharp. I'm really nervous. I'm definitely try-harding when I'm using these scissors. They really keep my attention laser focused, you know. Yeah, you only have to dry. Yeah, exactly. You can only dry half of what you wash. Yeah. Ooh, Esther. I'll bet it works so good though from the 80s, you know. It's funny because when we moved to this house, there was already a washer and dryer, and I was a little like, ooh, I don't know about that. And it works better than ours. So it's faster. And I'm really glad because ours was taking a long time, even though it's only like, I think 5 years old or less. All right. So I'm just gonna iron this seam and push it up into the neckline. I don't know why I'm doing it at the weirdest angle ever. Here we go. This will be a good shirt in the fall. Like the brown, it'll still be a very fall. It'll be a very fall color, and we still can wear shorts and short sleeves for a long time here. So it's nice to have something that looks a little bit fallish and not be too hot. You know? All right. Let me get some pens. Oh yeah, Jelly Roll quilt. Let me see. I gotta catch up on chat. Oh no, Summer, you're behind. Your toddler shirt. Yeah, you need like a little catch-up session, huh? Hopefully your instructor is forgiving about that, you know? And we'll get you caught up. Oh no, Esther. You're like, no, don't have skills right now. I want a new dryer. Well, that's a good idea, Louise. Maybe you could, Summer, just pick up where the class, I don't know, they may be funny about that. Sometimes, you know. So I'm going to put my notch across, my notch right there at that shoulder line, since that's where it lines up. So wait, I saw a question. Oh, how is your weather? Okay, wait, where? Oh, speaking of August, when are you doing the Jelly Roll quilt? Please don't tell me next week. No, no. I'm not streaming next week. So I can prepare for everything I want to do in August and a couple other things that I'm working on. I don't think I'll do 5 days of streaming a week like I did last August. That was super fun though. I really loved that. I just don't know if I have enough material for that. And we can do, would you guys like to do the Jelly Roll quilt? Jelly Roll race quilt along. Maybe summer. I'm working on it. I ended up making headway on that. So I have signed up on a site called Teachable, and that is one thing I would really like to kind of dive into a little bit next week. I'm finishing one more pattern to get off to the graphic artist right now. I'd really like to have another free pattern, at least one, for Patreon folks. I just want to make something you guys actually want though, and I just don't know if I have anything like that right now. I do have a couple patterns from Chicken Boots I wouldn't mind doing for free, like the Notions Wedgie and the Charm Keeper little bags. They were really big sellers for us, and I don't think I would make that a pattern for sale because they're pretty simple. What else am I doing next week? I want to clean up my website a little bit, and I've been working on also cleaning up all the links so that all the videos point to the website so you can find part 1, part 2 of each video. I already did all of 2020. I only have a year and a half to go. Okay. So yeah, so Summer, my friend Brooke told me about Teachable after that stream. And so I looked into it. I had to sign up for like the medium plan because I really want there to be closed captioning available, and they don't offer it on the lower plan. So I'm really hoping it works out. So I'm trying to figure that out. I'd like to work on that because I think it sounds interesting to me. So yeah. Just pinning my collar stand here. I'm going to see how I hope you can see. I'm kind of pulling the collar like this because when the machine comes around like this, it's going to push it to the edge. I find if I have just a little bit pulled that way, it kind of self-corrects by the time it gets to the edge. I don't like these huge pins. My pin experiment has kind of fallen apart. I just like the big, long, yellow quilting pins. Except for something like this, these little short ones are pretty handy. Wait, what cool images? Louise, where are you seeing cool images? Oh, you mean the little emojis? I know, she's really good at using the emojis. I speak an emoji. It's one of the languages I speak. So, how well can you see this? I don't know if you can see. It looks a little taut there. That's because it's not clipped, right? But for some reason, it just kind of ends up working. So this is the right side of the garment. And then I'm just, going to pin it down. So let's look at this side real quick. Like that right there. There we go. That looks better. Just want to make sure that it doesn't gap or anything like that, Hi, Adina. How's it going? Seeing me do... Oh, the collar. I thought you said color. Of course you can. All right, so this is the right side of my garment. So this is my opportunity. Oh, wait. Hello. So this is the right side of my garment. So this is why I like finishing the collar on this side. People who've been here before hear me say this whole speech over and over. But I just like it that it's my last place that you're going to see the stitching, right? So I don't have to worry about how it looks on the inside. I mean, yeah, it's nice if it falls right on the collar stand, but sometimes it doesn't, you know? We could try to do the Zoom social. All Zoom, yeah. You have one a day. Wow, Barbara. So, you guys need to kind of teach me. The quilt guild or quilt group that I've been kind of, dabbling in, they've been doing Zoom meetings, and I've been too nervous to join. It hasn't worked out either. Like, both times. One time I had to leave from work, so I missed it, and I didn't have internet. The other time I didn't have internet, and it downloaded. This time I couldn't find my cat, and I was outside, and I'd fallen asleep right before. And then when I remembered, I was like, oh, now I'm too worked up. But I do get a little nervous about it. Is this too bright? Why is it so bright now? What the heck? All right, so I'm going to start at the center back because that way my back stitches aren't going to land right here at the center front, because I used to always do it that way. I use my awl to cover up my stitching. I'm kind of like trying to push it back and get a little bit more of the fold to come out. Make that fold a little shallower. It has to look nice on the hanger, right? When it's crammed into the closet against all the other things and you can't even see it, right? I mean, if you're talking about my husband as the hanger, I agree. All he does is he's in video meetings all day long. Oof. There's a lot of misconceptions about being a streamer on YouTube. That I'm super, I am super outgoing. That I'm an extrovert. and that we make a ton of money. It's kind of a funny thing. All right. So I'm at this little point here, and I can see, I want you to get in there. I'm going to use my awl to kind of snug it up. One stitch at a time. See, now I'm turning the corner rather than doing a back stitch. So I'm just going to turn and go up the curve. How's that? Now it's not too bright, huh? Trying to keep this seam just stacked right on top of itself, you know? I'm also pulling and keeping everything as flat on the underside so that I don't get any wrinkles or torquing or or like slack, you know? Because of the swoopy collar, these lines are going to be a little crooked on the woven fabric. I knew it sounded funny. It's like my last thing I'm sewing. I kind of Ooh, you should always check your bobbin before you do these types of stitches. Do as I say, not as I do. Barbara, right? Yeah, I can see that. You know, and I wonder if they know that, you know? I'm sure I seem like a different person to the people that know me in person. Though. Oh, Goodwill took your scraps to recycle. Oh, interesting. I think they finally addressed those security issues. Right? But yeah, my husband uses Google Teams. He really likes it. Because I think you can like share documents and things. It looks like Teachable integrates with Zoom. All right. I'm going to come down my curve. And I'm going to turn the corner at the center front neck. I'm going to poke this little fold in here, make it a little straighter. Now turn. This is what I like about this kind of awl is that it doesn't put holes in the fabric or pierce too easily. So I kind of push it away and pull it because I'm trying to get a little bit of the fold under there to come out a little bit. Well, Zoom was having some security issues where people were able to hack into Zoom meetings and then post things and stuff like that, but I think they fixed it. I don't think they realized they were about to explode into the world's leading way to connect and make the world run in a month. You know? The thing is, there's things like Discord that have been available for years and millions of people use it, you know? So. Oh, yeah, right, Eliza. That's great. The waiting room thing. Our Goodwill is closed as well, too. Oh, that's smart, Barbara. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, people are living on exactly. No, Allison. But the upshot with knitting is that you can fix it and it's fine. Yarn is still yarn. I mean, if your sleeves were too long, you could cut those off and hem it and it'd be fine, right? But at the same time, like, sometimes sewing becomes garbage, you know, like you can't fix it. Is it really down to your knees? Like, have you really been on Sleeve Island and you didn't know you're allowed to leave Sleeve Island sooner? For non-knitters out there, that's what we call it when we're knitting sleeves. Sleeve Island, because you're there a long time. All right, here's my collar. Here's on the inside, so you can see my stitching on the outside didn't go perfectly on there, but this is the inside of the garment. Only you know about it. There's my collar and my collar stand. Come on. Here we go. That looks pretty good. Oh, I should have been making sure my plaids still match. I think this collar could use a little bit of adjusting with some of the pattern. It's a little short, you know what I mean? But look at that, it looks really good. Looks really good. Yeah. I think I got these wood buttons by Tabitha Sewer that I think will be perfect on this shirt. And I think he'll like it because they're wood, you know? Oh, this goes over more. That's what it is. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Very nice. It looks good. Got the contrast yoke back here, and then the contrast collar stand. So this all looks contrast, but all you'd see when you're wearing it is the yoke. And then if his collar is open, you'd see right here, but not the yoke. Not bad. Exactly, Louise, he does not. Yeah, without the label, it could be, right now, you know, that could be said about a lot of flat felt things. It could be reversible, you're right. Yeah, I think the wood buttons will look good. Yeah. There we go, you can see a little bit more of it. Wish you could see it better, like the color in person. Oh, did you guys see it? I did, what did you guys, can't talk today. Who suggested that I take that shirt and make it hang up? Wait, yeah. It's so much better. I'm so glad. You can't really see it, but I love that. I know I don't actually talk about anti-racism work here very much. It is something I work on myself, and I actually have been for a long time. Because of the way I grew up, but where I grew up, and but I like to support people of color in the sewing world and outside the sewing world, and so that's what I like to do. So it's more like I'm not going to stop supporting them. Well, Eliza, you know, all I did was I took the collar point right here, I lined it up on the same spot of all these. So see, I just took it and I lined it up on the blue line. Each time I cut it out, and that's it. And on the pocket, I just folded the shirt like back like this and lined it up on the fabric, and then put pins right where the dots of the pocket were going to be on the fabric, and then I lined up my pocket there and cut it out. It wasn't very scientific. Oh, it was you, Patty. Yeah, thank you. Guys, I'm so itchy lately. I've been hacking all this stuff in our yard. Ooh, I found so many prickles on me. I think I got them all finally. Yeah, I think I think he's gonna like this. All right, well, so Saturday we'll be doing the sleeves, and we're gonna flat fill them on the side seams, and we'll hem them, and then I'm gonna do a demonstration on how to do the sleeve placket. So since this is a short sleeve garment, I'll be doing a demonstration on how to do this kind of placket right here. This is one of my husband's Fairfields. See, I didn't do this one on camera, so it actually turned out okay. Oh, really? You used to? That's cute. I've had these buttons for like 20 years. I have a whole, I bought a few gross for a project I did, and I'm still using them. Yeah. These are my inside out sleeves. But you can't tell. You have to watch the beginning of the stream for that story. And then here's the first one I made. right here. And it's got the floral inside. This label sticks up. I also put a loop because then I was a little worried about the pokiness of the label. So this is that, oh, Sevenberry. This is Sevenberry. Is that what you said, Sydney? I think Sydney had to go. She had to finish her document. What was this? What did she say? Did she say Sevenberry? This is the Sevenberry fabric. That's what it's called. But look, it looks yarn dyed. It's printed. I love this fabric. Every time I'm at the fabric store, I almost buy it, more of it. But the others are just, they're just not quite my husband's style, so I haven't. All right. I'll see you guys Saturday. Oh, and then for anyone else looking for menswear, I will be sewing some men's underwear next month. So far next month I have some underwear streams planned. The Jelly Roll Race Quilt. Sydney, is it Sevenberry that you said you got? What was the fabric? Did you say Pepperberry or Sevenberry? What'd you say? Jelly Roll Race Quilt, underwear. What was the other thing? Well, I might do the Alcott by Cashmere. And then something, I don't know, I'm still figuring it out. I have a lot of ideas and options, and I'm trying not to put a lot of pressure on myself because it's the 2nd year anniversary. So, Sevenberry. It is Sarah Sevenberry. Okay. Yeah. Nara Homespun, and it has pins on it. That sounds so cute. Bye, Terry. All right, I'll see you guys Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific. And thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you then. Bye.